Hello, 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 and welcome to episode number 2 of Two Dudes, Two Mics. I am your host, Dalton Wicks, alongside my brother from the same mother.
My name is Spencer. I think.
Does it say that on your birth certificate?
I don't even know where my birth certificate is, dude.
We can neither confirm nor deny that Spencer is a citizen of the United States.
It is up for debate. Anyway, what are we talking about today, dude?
We're going to be talking a little bit about the future of gaming. We're going to kind of dive into where gaming is currently right now, kind of discuss a little bit more about where it's trending, you know, what's currently popular with it, what's making it work, you know, what are some stuff that we like, what's some stuff that we don't like, and then we'll just do some speculation and predictions on where things are going to be taking off to here in the next year or so.
All right. So I think it should be noted that we are PlayStation users mainly.
Sony ponies, that's correct.
Yeah. PS1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way. That's what
we have had each system.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty obvious that we're pretty biased in our,
yeah,
our evaluation.
That's why I wanted to get it out of the way that we're.
I mean, Xbox is cool. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely plenty of cool stuff.
I'm not here
to too.
I'm not here to bash Xbox. I'm just making it known that we don't know too much about Xbox versus PlayStation. So
yeah, I mean, I recall going over to play Halo at friends' houses growing up every now and again. It's like the extent of my Xbox experience.
It's the only Xbox exclusive game I can even think of off the top of my head.
So where are we at currently with gaming, right? So we have the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, I would say, are your top 3 moneymakers right now in the gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, other than obviously PC gaming's been around since PCs have been around. But
yeah, nobody cares about that.
well, I think I was just talking mainly about the consoles, like devices intentionally made for gaming.
Yeah.
And we have mobile gaming too. Mobile gaming's obviously alive and well. So there's like really 5 main ways people are getting their fix of gaming right now, right?
Yeah. So when did the Switch come out? Now that you mentioned
I don't
mentioned that,
know. It's like it's been here for a while, and obviously with Animal Crossing, it's absolutely exploded onto the scene.
Yeah. So like everyone knows Nintendo and plays Mario and all that. I didn't think of their console, I didn't think of them as a console company and since Game Boy or all those handheld things until recently, and then the Switch just comes. They were a Wii, right? Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, we had the Nintendo Wii.
So that's besides the Wii. That's that's been kind of pretty old for a while, and then the Switch just comes out of nowhere and kind of jumps up right next to Sony and Microsoft. Right.
Yeah, and then here we are now we're kind of getting onto that cusp of welcoming in that next generation of consoles, but the way that gaming's kind of currently shaping out in our society is we currently have welcomed in, and I'd say within the last 5 years, maybe a little over 5 years or so, streaming has really taken off big time.
Yeah, I mean, how big has Twitch gotten?
Right, yes. So Twitch, the short-lived Mixer.
RIP.
Mixer was a company that was bought by Microsoft back a few years ago to kind of rival with Twitch as a popular gaming service, and they recently disbanded and kind of...
Can I get an F in chat?
F in the chat, boys. So, yeah, other than that, we have YouTube live streaming. We have, obviously, the aforementioned Twitch and Facebook gaming. Those are kind of like your main ways of doing live streams of playing games. And I know a lot of people for people who are not really in the know of games and gaming too much, and when they hear of this concept of streaming games, they kind of think it's weird. They're just like, well, why would you watch someone else play video games? Why wouldn't you want to play the video games? And the simple answer I almost all the time give to these people is, a lot of the times you just don't want to spend the damn money to buy these games. And you mix that, like, so you save the money. So a lot of these story-based games too, like The Last of Us 2 is the most recent example, right? Where it's a very story-based game that came out, and it's a little bit cinematic. You have a lot of cutscenes, and it's almost like a movie, like a very long movie that you're following along with. And so some people, instead of paying the $60 or whatever to play the game themselves, they want to find someone who will play the game for them, so to speak, and kind of give them those cutscenes.
I think a big part of it, for me at least, is the personality of the guy playing it, or the girl.
Yes, that's the other half of it too.
You want to watch someone entertaining play an entertaining game, and it's kind of a twofer. Like you get someone that you really like watching, and you like them, and then you get to watch the game that you don't feel like paying $60 for.
Right, and then you also get to build communities with these streamers too. A lot of the streamers that I know that are kind of like more popular ones, they kind of like to make their own little gaming communities, and like you got guys like Nick Merckx, and he calls his followers the M-Fam, and you've got plenty of other gamers out there that like really value the people that tune into their streams, because these people are helping them make money, and also, if you didn't know, you do make a lot of money if you get pretty big on these streams. Some of these streamers are literally raking in millions of dollars.
Yeah, these dudes buy houses with their Twitch money. It's no joke, man.
And no, not only that, but they just, that's their full-time job.
Yep.
Like Tucker, a guy that I follow a lot too on Twitch.
Tucker Boner?
Tucker Boner, yes. Who goes by the name Jericho on Twitch, and he's been a long-time YouTube gamer. He's just got a really cool, low-key kind of streaming platform that he does on Twitch, where he streams games every once in a while. He does like a kind of relaxing day where they should like watch memes and stuff every Friday. And he's very cool and interactive with his community and with his followers. So, I mean, it's also about developing friendships. You meet people sometimes when you're in the chats. For some of these people, you meet other people who have like like-minded interests.
I will say, with the streaming versus YouTube, I've always preferred YouTube over. I watch Twitch every once in a while, but I prefer the edited, like. Not compilations of like funny stuff that happens during streams usually, where guys will chop up their recorded sessions and make them funny edited videos on YouTube. I prefer watching those over streams usually.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's important to note too that YouTube it offers one of two things. So the classic use of YouTube is, for what you just said, the chopped up edited versions that no one's seen before.
Yeah.
That someone was just gaming on their own, and then they edited the footage, maybe threw in some effects, and then uploaded it, and it's like a 15-minute clip of like the original gameplay that they had was probably like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of cutting and editing to make it seem like a really just kind of giving you the meat and potatoes of what they played.
All the highlights and the
But YouTube also has live streaming as well, so you get both versions of that on the YouTube platform. But Twitch only offers that live streaming portion.
Yeah. And I feel like most guys, at least that I watch, will record and stream on Twitch and then upload the edited stuff onto YouTube. So I don't see a lot of people actually using the YouTube streaming part, but
I think the reason why, though, that these guys are doing more streaming nowadays and why streaming took off is because the way that a lot of these people made their money on the platforms, because originally it was YouTube, right? It was only YouTube that people had, so you're uploading those little 15-minute edited clips, and you're completely relying on the monetization of YouTube's terms and services. But then when they kind of got more into the world of streaming and streaming became more of a thing, now all of a sudden you get subscribers, and these subscriptions on Twitch are monetized, so you get money for the subscriptions, unlike YouTube, where YouTube's solely just based off of views. Yeah. And ad revenue, but then on Twitch you can have people donate money to you just straight up, and there's lots of more ways that you can actually make a living via the Twitch streams.
Yeah, I feel I guess it'd be a lot easier to just sit down and start streaming on Twitch, and then play video games for 3 straight hours and not have to upload a video to YouTube and edit it and everything, because a lot of guys, I think it would just be easier to to stream versus editing a bunch of videos and putting them up on YouTube. That would just be a lot more time costly to your time.
Right. And then the ultimate kind of theme underlying like the whole streaming thing and why people watch streams, because again, I keep thinking of like that boomer mentality where it's like, well, why are you watching someone play video games? Like, that's really stupid. But everybody has that, like, craves crappy entertainment, right? Or just like, it's not, I don't mean to say crappy, but it's like just, you know, it's
that same boomer is watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians,
right?
Reality
Exactly,
TV.
like
It's
the entire E News network, and TMZ, and like all of the trash networks that people, and like stupid sitcoms and stuff like that with just a bunch of laugh tracks. It's all looped into the same category. It's like your easy, just non. I don't know. It's entertainment. That's all it is. It's entertainment.
Yeah. It's these boomers just don't understand the we don't understand their boomer TV shows. They don't understand our, why some of us watch video games. It's the same kind of logic.
Right. And so we kind of glossed over the fact that that you make money. There is monetization in this current gaming atmosphere, but then you can also turn that into like the esports market too. And,
oh yeah.
Oh man, like some of the stats on some of these that have come out recently. I think the furthest back or furthest like to the current time frame is we can dig up is like 2018. There aren't any stats from like last year or this year.
Before you pull those up, I found something pretty interesting in April. Twitch. You want to guess how many hours of gaming was watched on Twitch in April of this year?
In April, I'm gonna say, how many hours?
Hours watched.
2 billion.
You were really close. 1.5 billion.
Wow.
In April alone, and that was a 50% hike from the month before. So
right, and I think we do need to kind of throw in that caveat that the virus is going to impact some of these numbers for sure. Yeah. Like video gaming is going to become much more prevalent here in this next year or so as we navigate lockdown life and just being isolated more and relying on that kind of solo entertainment.
Yeah, so I'm throwing in a lot more hours on Skyrim from whenever lockdown started. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, so I want to kind of gloss over like the top 3 countries in terms of gaming revenue as of 2018. And this is via gamingscan.com, the stats that they put together. But the top 3 countries in terms of gaming revenue were in order: China with $34.5 million.
Holy crap.
Followed by the United States with $31.5 million, and then Japan with $17.5 million. So that's a lot of money. And it's not to mention all of the other countries globally. So yeah, it's just really starting to take off, and they're projecting things to just get more and more over the years. Like the biggest spike is actually projected to be from 2015. We saw 98 million globally, and they're projecting that by 2022 we're going to be up to 200 million. So it's going to double.
Wow.
Within a 7-year span.
The earliest. Neither of us, at least to my knowledge, I don't think you watch a whole lot of esports, but, I'll throw in the Rocket League esports every once in a while.
I said million, I meant billion.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, continue.
All right, so that's a lot of money. I was saying, I don't think either of us watch a whole lot of esports.
Right.
Like, I'll toss on the Rocket League just for a goof to watch those guys, because it's just kind of entertaining watching them, the pros play. But the earliest memories I even have of learning about esports were the Call of Duty esports back 7-8 years ago, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but it feels like it was a long time ago.
Yeah, you had the original Optic Gaming, FaZe Clan.
Yeah,
that was
guys,
our first exposure.
When those guys were getting big, it was almost 10 years ago. It feels like. So again, I don't watch a whole lot of. I'll throw it on maybe once a year to just check in on the craziness that the pros are doing, but that's about it.
The expansion we've seen recently, though, because I do think that The first-person shooters were kind of like the first. I'd say when this competitive scene first started to get big, we were seeing Call of Duty, a little bit of Halo, CS:GO, World of Warcraft. No, before CS:GO, I think it was mainly just like COD, Call of Duty, and then World of Warcraft. Those were like your first two giants that were starting to dip into the competitive scene.
The earliest I can think of.
And we saw CS:GO, and then we saw Halo.
League of Legends.
League of Legends, definitely. That's a big one.
And now Fortnite is taking over.
Yeah, that's the new meta, I feel like. And obviously Call of Duty stayed persistent with like Warzone currently. And now you're seeing like sports games too. Like we have 2K leagues for the NBA scene and legitimate teams and rosters of guys that are video game players, not players, but video gamers.
Yes. It's pretty cool. Like the earliest I can think of is seeing these Call of Duty tournaments and seeing just the pictures and videos of just guys lined up next to each other in front of monitors, and they're on this team, whether it's Optic or whatever. And it was really just I'd never seen anything like it. These guys, teams of guys, like you were saying, playing video games for cash prizes, thousands and millions of dollars now. It's nuts.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, when we objectively look at it, is it the most? Is this profession, so to speak, the profession of video gaming and being very skilled at a Call of Duty or a game similar to that? Is it like the most? Is it compared to being a doctor or a lawyer? Like, is it viewed in the same scope? Absolutely not. But am I gonna hate on these people for making money off of that? Hell no. Make your money, man. Like if you're gonna spend that time and effort in video games to get good at it, and you can beat everybody or start to get really good at it, then maximize the amount of profit that you can make off of it, man. You know, get the bag, secure that bag.
I am just as jealous of the guys making money playing Fortnite than the guys in the big leagues, like hitting home runs and making that kind of money too. I'm just as jealous.
Yeah. And so from there, I think we'll kind of start to now shift our focus to, you know, what's coming. What's now on the radar for gaming? What are we going to be looking into in terms of like this next, I don't want to say 6 month, the year period, because we have the announcements that we are looking at the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X. Those are our next two titans of gaming set to come in the picture. All they're saying is holiday 2020 right now. We don't have a specific date for either, but that's what we're looking at. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking actually back to the Switch for some reason, like since the Switch came out recently. So they're probably going to lose some players to these new gen systems, since I mean, I think it'll still be recent enough to where it's not going to matter for sales, but like they'll definitely lose a few people to.
No, it's the new shiny toys on the market. Yeah, absolutely. But I think the one thing that Nintendo can always hang their hat on is the Mario stuff and the exclusivity of a lot of their games that they have. They can always bank on having their loyal clientele and customers in that regard.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Just I don't know if it was bad or genius timing on their part to release it when they did, when the new gen consoles are coming out soon. So I don't know. We'll see. I doubt they'll take any kind of hit, but I was just speculating.
And honestly, Animal Crossing, to put a bow on this current state of gaming, like that's game of the year right now. Animal Crossing, far and away, there isn't another game that is even close to that game right now.
Yeah, I completely forgot,
because they captured that elusive, like the more casual and the more female demographic of gamers. It's just easy for a lot of people to play. It's like a fun, simple game. You're not getting all the like testosterone fueled COD players. You're getting more of like the casual gamers, and a larger majority of these gamers too.
And I feel like a lot of those testosterone fueled COD players are playing Animal Crossing too.
Yeah, and they're just not admitting it. Yeah, of course.
So that just makes their fan base even larger.
Right. And so, yeah, we're now looking at the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, due to come out holiday 2020. and we'll kind of run down some of the specs. If you're not super nerdy like we can be at times, then some of this might be like a foreign language to you. But we'll kind of break it down the best way we can. The main thing that we were kind of looking at first is like the storage capacity, because the one thing that we can definitely speak to that's been problematic with the PlayStation 4, with recent games in particular, is that the hard drive space is just way too small.
Yeah, so the gist of it is if you have a PlayStation 4 and you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new Call of Duty, you can have one other game on your PlayStation.
I don't even have one other game on the system right now. I only have Modern Warfare. COD. And then the extended storage device that I have plugged in, which is another terabyte. I have all of the rest of my game library.
The terabyte extender is a must if you have the PS4 and if you have Call of Duty. So I have a lot of single player games that I like to just keep on my PlayStation, but Call of Duty is taking up most of my terabyte extender right now, and then all my other smaller games are on the system hard drive. So that we're a little upset about the lack of storage in the PlayStation. And it gets even better. The PlayStation 5 apparently it doesn't have a terabyte in the hard drive like the Xbox Series X does. The PS5 is listed as having 825 gigs while the Xbox has a terabyte.
Yeah, and that does matter. It does matter in the grand scheme of things, because we're talking about then you kind of start to look at the discs and not discs in the future, because the PlayStation 5 reveal that we saw recently from Sony, they revealed that there's going to be two versions of the console. One with the capability to have physical discs, and then one is going to kind of be a future of gaming kind of thing where there's no disk drive. It's all virtual downloads. Yeah,
that one did look a lot sleeker, but again, the problem is the lack of space, and these games are only going to get bigger. There's no way the game's size themselves are getting smaller. So.
Right, and again, for those who aren't in the know, the physical game copies, the discs themselves, that kind of acts as a buffer to the amount of hard drive space. So the discs will keep more of that hard drive space on themselves rather than all of it going straight to the console.
So for that reason, I'll elaborate. I most of my games are on discs. That's why I'm able to fit so many. And I know you have had a problem with your disc reader, which is kind of broken. And I've had a few other friends tell me that their disc readers are broken too. So hopefully that's not a big issue with the PS5 for people that get that version of the system.
Well, again, I mean, mine's been around since launch. I was there at the night that the PS4 came out. And that's how old mine is.
But the stereo in my car is 13 years old, and that still works. The CD player still works in there, so that's why I'm a little upset. And that's a $600 PlayStation, or however much it was when we got it.
But that actually is a good segue, though, into... we'll put off the pricing for just a moment. Let's kind of look at some of the other dimensions here. So one of the other dimensions, I guess, is the way they look. So the two... in terms of physical dimensions, we've seen the clowning from both sides, where the Xbox Series X looks like a mini fridge, and the PS5 looks like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. So
I hadn't heard that one before. That's pretty good.
We can't obviously give you any visuals here on the podcast, but do yourself a favor, look it up if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, just type in Eye of Sauron on Google Images. You'll find the PS5.
They're pretty unique looking consoles, and sometimes I feel like the designing team kind of goes for some looks just for the sake of being edgy.
Yeah, I'll cut them some slack. I honestly like the design of the PS5. It does look pretty sleek. The disc one looks pretty boof, because the disc just kind of gives it this, like, it's kind of an eyesore, but the one without the disc drive on it does look pretty sleek, in my opinion. They're vertical. The PS5 is vertical, right? You stand it up, and it looks like you stand it up instead
Apparently, you can actually put it horizontal.
Okay.
I was reading into that a little bit more. That allegedly, you can put it horizontal, and it'll be okay.
I'm sure you can. It's just the body,
the way they presented it.
It didn't look too straight on the sides, so it didn't look like you could. But hopefully, you can for
and
storage purposes.
And because there's a lot of people who use TV stands that have like little shelf
Exactly.
spaces.
And me
like,
being one of those people, like there's no way I could stand it where my current system is.
So some of the other things we'll kind of look into, like backwards compatibility. Both systems should be able to do that. Where the Xbox actually has the upper hand there is they're spreading their compatibility over multiple previous gen systems, whereas the PS5 is just PS4.
Well, I know you can buy PS2 games on the PS4, or unless they're remastered.
Actually, something like that.
And the PS Now thing is how you get PS3 games and stuff, so I'm sure it's a paywall for both systems. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Right, so the backwards compatibility essentially means, can you play games made for the previous generation systems on the current one?
Yeah.
So if I buy a PS5 and I have a PS4 game that I still really like to play, can I then play it on the PS5 console?
Right.
And that's important because we don't, not everybody has enough money to go around and buy the updated versions. And if the game developer doesn't make a new version of it, then you still want to be able to play the game. So that's where that kind of comes in. And again, for the Xbox, they're going to allow Xbox and Xbox 360 backwards compatibility too, confirmed as of right now. So that's big. That's going back 2 generations.
That's pretty sweet. I would love to play PS3 games, or is it PS3, right? Two systems back on the PS5. Yeah. That'd be awesome. This is actually kind of surprising. It says VR is not that either of us play VR, but VR is unconfirmed for the Xbox. I feel like that would kind of be not a priority, but it's fairly new, and a lot of people seem to be into it.
Virtual reality is such an interesting concept because I feel like when it first came out, we were all under the impression that, like, dude, this is all gaming now. Like, gaming, all developers, everything's going to get invested into this version of gaming, and we're going to only see this kind of be like the future, right? But it hasn't really taken off the way we thought. Maybe just not yet. I don't know, but it feels like it was going to get a lot bigger sooner. Am I wrong there?
I think there were a lot of problems, and it wasn't as advanced as a lot of people were led to believe it was.
Right.
Seeing the early VR stuff, it was pretty buggy and kind of janky looking. It has improved a lot since it first came out on the market, so that's why I'm surprised that it hasn't been confirmed yet for the Xbox, but it has been confirmed for the PS5.
Yeah, so and then the color scheme, not largely important, but I think the Xbox Series X is just a straight black color, and then with the
Is this the first white PlayStation we've had since like the
PS1? It's not white per se. It's actually the console itself is black, but the hard shell cover around it is white.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So it's like kind of confusing when you're looking at it, but the actual heart of the console is still black too.
So I remember the PS1 and 2 we had are both gray, and then the PS3 and 4 are both black, and I didn't think there were any other color options for those.
And black's just a solid console color.
I'm not mad at that, but I'm just it's kind of nice to get a change of a visual on the console.
To like have some kind of like colorful scheme. Like what if it was pink or purple or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you get a pink.
And I'm sure as these start to release, they might do like special edition stuff where they're gonna make different colored ones too. But I think black's always a solid color just because of like minimizing the dirt and just like the wear and tear on the console over time. But yeah, those are pretty much the dimensions that we have kind of seen so far, and then that leads us into the ultimate question, which is pricing for these things. So
how much is this thing gonna cost?
I don't recall exactly what the price point was for the PS4 when I originally bought it on release day. I want to say it was $400.
Yeah,
I
was gonna say that sounds about right.
I can't recall off the top of my head, but so we're now kind of thinking, okay, so these developers they had pretty much finalized the consoles, we're guessing, before the pandemic and everything kind of started to take way, which means that they were kind of finalizing price points and doing their marketing stuff that way as well. And now it's just going to be kind of interesting to see if they kind of have to do an about face or maneuver their original strategy based on the economy and how much money people are going to have to spend. Obviously, a lot of people would be bringing up the fact that like a lot of these entertainment industries and companies are delaying a lot of their stuff, and they're just going to hold off until the economy recovers a little bit more. But these guys have spent so much money and invested so much in making these things, they have to start getting some kind of revenue pretty quick.
Yeah, I see that, but I mean, I'm obviously not a game developer, but if this whole pandemic or something hit while I'm in the middle of making a game and we can't go to the studio to work on the game and we have to do it from home, I mean, that obviously it's a huge obstacle.
Let's hold off on the games themselves. We're only talking consoles right now. We'll get to the games here in a minute. So the consoles themselves, though, if we're just talking about like PS5 and Xbox console making,
yeah, those should be pretty much done by now, right?
Right, and so they kind of already finished, and then it just would seem kind of weird for Sony and Microsoft to just kind of sit on those.
But maybe the manufacturing part is what's being hit by this. Maybe the actual making of the consoles themselves might be set back because of restrictions on how many people can work in a warehouse or something. Maybe,
that's a good point.
Maybe that's the problem if they do get delayed, but for now they're still slated for later this year.
Right, and so we are still currently looking at a timeline of holiday 2020. My guess as of right now is that they're going to release them probably late November, if I'm going to calculate that correctly or kind of forecast that the right way, because I'm imagining you're going to have like a couple waves of consoles being released. The first wave is going to be for the ultra gamers who are all pre-ordering and they want it day of.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have more of the casual releases where mom and pops can go out and buy them for Christmas gifts and holiday gifts. So
that's another thing is I don't think there would be a big Black Friday run to Best Buy. So a lot of these are going to be bought online.
Yeah, that's true, because we're not going to really have anything in store. That's correct.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to look at too. And then it's shipping, and are we going to have a crisis of like package stealing, and because everyone's going to know that those things are shipping and they're worth hundreds of dollars. But again, so price point. So that leads us back to the ultimate question. How much do we think these things are going to be priced at? My guess right now is I'm thinking that the in terms of the PS5 anyway, I'm thinking they're going to do $599, $600 for the version that has the disc capability, and then they'll knock off like $50 for the one without it. So like $550 to $600 is my current guess.
It's got to be minimum $500 for both. There's no way they'd go less than, because I'm 90% sure the PS4 was $400, and maybe the PS4 Pro was closer to $500. I'm not too sure, but there's no way it'd be less than $500. The inflation and everything since then, I mean, it's got to be at least $500 for both.
Yeah, and the thing that I kind of worry about, though, is if they go higher, because I was seeing some crazy estimates of like $800 and stuff like that. These companies have to be a little bit careful here, because the economy is really taking a hit right now. So many people unemployed, out of a job, having to worry about living paycheck to paycheck. I know there's unemployment payments and stuff like that, but for a lot of people and families and stuff,
are you going to be spending 85% of that check on a PS5?
Exactly. So that's just and you're not just calculating the PS5 or the Xbox Series X here. You're talking about getting an extra controller or two on top of that. If you have multiple people playing, you need games, and we're going to talk about games here in a minute, about like the price points on those too. But it's an investment. I'd say you're really looking at upwards, like closer to $1,000 of an investment originally, because of all the stuff you're going to need for the gaming experience. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
We're talking about the same amount of money that like fixer-uppers like to put down on a car.
I was going to say, that's like half a used car, man. I mean,
right.
God damn. So,
if you're in charge of making the overall price point for the PlayStation 5 and knowing the current state of the economy and kind of doing some projections of your own, what do you think is a fair price point for you to try to make a profit and also not alienate your consumer base?
Man, that's tough, and I'm sure that's why Sony hasn't released a price.
I know,
yet.
right?
Sure
I don't think they even have the answer yet.
I'm sure that's what their problem is right now. I hate putting it over 500 because I mean, there's so many unemployed. I mean, that's so much money for a gaming system. I know it's the new gen and everything, but the $500 is a lot of money for anything, let alone a console. So I'm being generous, I would say, to put it at 500, but it could easily be 600 or more. But hopefully, for our sake, it's no more than $500.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that it's gonna be at 500. If they kind of go a little bit more generous with the their consumer base, because 600 is going to seem a little more greedy and profit driven, and the higher they go, obviously the less they're kind of taking into account, people's wallets, so to speak. But I think 500's fair enough, especially based off like previous price points and like overall inflation over the years. So and I understand there's a lot of work and a lot of money and investment that goes into making these things. So you have to make your nut back off of it as well. So I think 500's kind of a fair sticking point for me, but I ultimately think it's still going to hit that 600
Yeah,
mark.
you got to remember, these are corporations we're dealing with. They're a lot of them are spineless, and they'll just try to milk as much money as they can. So
right.
I got to remember that part. There's still corporations out to make
and
as
they're
much
gonna
money.
know that a lot of their base will still buy it no matter what, and they're knowingly going to put a lot of people in bad economic spots.
They know there's a certain amount of people willing to go to prostitution to buy that PS5.
Donating to the sperm bank and whatever it is that they need to do. Yeah, I agree. All right, that's a good jumping off point into games. Now we'll talk a little bit more about games in particular. So the games that we are we already mentioned the Animal Crossing game. So current games we see that are huge, right? So Fortnite had kind of exploded onto the scene the last couple of years. That was like the new meta. Everyone was playing it. You got Ninja, and he was doing like little hookups with Drake, and all of these other big gamers were playing Fortnite all the time. And that was kind of like, and it's still for littler kids, I think, and like more of the younger gamers, that is still kind of the meta right now, because it's more of like I don't want to say there's like a kids-friendly shooter game, but it is, I mean,
with the color scheme, that's the first thing you notice.
It's a cartoonish shooter, and it is more for like younger consumers, I guess. But that right now, for the older gamers, the more experienced gamers, I think Modern Warfare has definitely become more of like the norm there recently.
Yeah, especially with Warzone, the Battle Royale, the Fortnite ripoff, I will just say it. I'm kind of, to be honest, dude, I'm getting sidetracked again, but I'm kind of sick of the Battle Royale. Everyone's doing it now. I mean,
well, now that you mentioned it, so we were going to mention like the genres. So current genres or the way we've kind of seen genres grow is, I feel like for a while, I want to say we were really into, like, I feel like 2K and Madden, like games like that were really like popular, really big, right?
Yeah,
everyone wanted the new. It was mainly those two, basketball and football.
Yeah.
Baseball, MLB The Show is kind of always there too.
Yeah.
But mainly your two big sports games were Madden and 2K. But now those are, like, they're still big, but they've kind of flatlined a little bit. And now we've kind of entered this Battle Royale atmosphere.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So Fortnite comes out.
It wasn't Fortnite, though. So first, if we want to start from the beginning of that, it was like H1Z1.
Oh, you're right. That was before, huh?
Yeah, and we had a couple more like lower tier, not as popular.
PUBG after Fortnite?
H1Z1 and PUBG were kind of like those first two pioneers.
Okay.
And then we slowly started to, and there was one other one I feel like it was before Fortnite that I'm blanking on right now.
I totally forgot about H1Z1 though. That game was pretty cool to watch. I watched a lot of that on YouTube.
Yeah, those were essentially the first two kind of pioneers of this gaming genre, and then we kind of jumped into Fortnite. Obviously, got it huge, and then COD and Battlefield started to kind of dip their toes into it. We see Apex Legends and some other stuff coming in as well. And overall, the one thing I think that the Battle Royale games, at least some of them, not all of them, have ushered in that I like that they're doing about gaming now, and Modern Warfare did this too with Warzone, free-to-play games.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
Huge.
That
is so huge. And I know Battle Royale is kind of getting tired for a lot of people, and they're sick of all these companies trying to get in on it, but Fortnite really introduced this idea where you're not paying straight out of the gate for, like, it's not pay to win. It's like you're downloading the game for free, you can access and play it for free, but then the cosmetic stuff where you can buy skins and buy all of this like stuff that's not necessary for you to get good at the game, but it's more of just like a cosmetic effect. That's where they make the money now.
Unless it's Activision, then it's still pay to win for Warzone, but Fortnite at least, it's
well,
still only the cosmetics.
I will say COD's at least gotten better about it too. It used to be really bad. Like, dude, you remember with
it was Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare was
drops
completely pay to win. Yeah.
I still have that Moore's Doctor on my account, man. That thing was awesome. Anyway.
And to be fair, in Modern Warfare, you do get all of the weapons without any kind of paywall, at least.
Yeah, but then you have to do the stupid quickscope challenge to get your Barrett.
But you're not paying anything, and there's no real way to expedite that process. You can't pay to get those, so it's all still free technically. And I like this concept. I like the concept of having more free-to-play games, like base games, and then you kind of make your money off of the non-essential stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going to get it anyway if it looks cool to them and they want to stick out and just look different. Like that's why you get the Battle Pass. That's why you get a lot of the Season Pass content and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember when Fortnite was first coming out, I was looking at it and I was like, what? It's free? Like, what's the catch here? Like, in the PlayStation store, I was like, "What? This game's free?" And then Apex was like, "What? This one's free too? Like, what's going on? Why are these games free?" And then, obviously, I realized, everyone's running around in a Deadpool skin or something. Like, oh, that's where they're making their money.
Thanos, they had the Avengers thing too. Yeah. So that's kind of been the norm right now. We were really etched into that VR lifestyle right now in the gaming community, but now, so where we're heading, what are some ideas? We can speculate about where we think we're going to go, but first, where do we want to see gaming go further towards?
Dude, I really want a solid VR to try out. I know there's one on the Sony VR that they got on the PlayStation right now, but I don't see it working out insanely well, at least from what I've seen. There's still some bugs and stuff. I would love to look, dude, Borderlands 2 VR came out recently, and that's my favorite game of all time is Borderlands 2, and I've wanted to try that VR so bad for so long, but I don't trust the VR, and I want the VR to get better so I can play not only that, but just whatever games are popular for VR. I think that's where my mind immediately went, was I want VR to improve.
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea. I think obviously VR still has, the good news for VR is they still have so much more room to improve, like obvious ways that they can improve.
It is improving. Like every year it's only getting better. I'm not trying to crap on it, but it's getting better.
Like I said, though, I think you can view it as a detriment that they're still not quite where they need to be, but you can also, when you can obviously see where they can make improvements, it's a good sign in a weird way, because you can see that that's coming.
Yeah.
That's coming down the road. You kind of know where their next improvements and tweaks are going to be, so you can look forward to that. A lot of these other genres and a lot of these other gaming tech, you kind of sit there and wonder, like, well, what is there left to do here? Where can they really improve this? So my ultimate, the thing that I want to see more of, this isn't necessarily a new kind of topic, but I would love to see more games that are co-op based.
I was just gonna say that
where
when you were done. Yeah.
Not only just so much co-op, but like when you have like teams of people and you're just taking on not other gamers online. I know that's fun to be competitive with other people, but these ideas where you have objectives to work on with other gamers and you're promoting more of a work together and cooperation based game.
Exactly. I almost want to go as far as saying like I want more split screen games just to dick around like with your friends, like when you're in the same room with someone.
Yeah.
Like I want some split screen stuff, and obviously co-op games are on the decline. Like I mean, Call of Duty is the first one I can think of, but it's not really like a super. It's not a story-based like that's what I'm looking for, is like either a story-based or something along those lines where you can play with other people.
Yeah. And where I really think this is going to benefit to it, not only is it going to be kind of a different meta to go to as we kind of go away from more of the sports and BR style games, but this promotes less division and less people kind of butting heads more and more, and is promoting more of that, hey, let's have this common objective, let's work together, let's work on trying to achieve the same goals alongside each other and not have to like compete for it, you know?
Yeah, this like whole like Call of Duty working together in quotes mindset is like that's how you get those Modern Warfare 2 lobbies of people just shouting the most obscene things at you.
Yeah, the toxic gaming community definitely. I think this can help that out a little bit more too, and encourage people to be a little more positive with one another. Because like right now, obviously in Warzone and some of these BRs, you are working with some squads, but you're also against other squads, and it still kind of has a little bit of that nasty competitive edge to it. So if we can remove that aspect a little bit going forward and just promote more of the, hey, we're all on the same team here, let's all work together, I think that's going to help create more of a positive reflection for the gaming community as a whole. And it's more receptible for younger gamers and the future of gaming as well. If they just have more of a incentive to have fun and just not worry about a bunch of expletives being thrown around and it's just like a really toxic environment.
Yeah, I don't want to be reminded of how many people have slept with my mother every time I go into a game of Call of Duty or something.
Seriously, man. If you're out there and you've never been in one of those gaming lobbies where people are just... They use to just say the most obscene shit you've ever heard in your life. It's just nuts. Anyway. But yeah, I thought we would kind of end the discussion by kind of just going over games of the past and kind of talk about some of our favorites, why they were our favorites, and kind of reminisce a little bit and maybe have some hopeful discussion points for the future of gaming, I guess. Well, first of all, games that are coming up. So what's intriguing you as of right now in terms of like stuff that's been announced already?
So that PS5 reveal that we saw also included a bunch of games. There were 3 that stuck out to me that, I mean, obviously that new Spider-Man game, dude. Holy shit. I'm jumping on that as soon as it comes out. Also,
Miles Morales, by the way, it's not your typical Spider-Man.
Yeah, so Miles Morales Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, mostly because it's a callback to when I was little and I was playing those PS2. Those first 3 Ratchet and Clank games are some of my favorite games of all time, so I'll be getting that new game. And then the other one was the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. I actually can't think of the name of the new Horizon something. But
Part 2.
Yeah, that one takes place in San Francisco, I think, is from what I saw in the trailer.
Horizon Zero Dusk.
So those were the only 3 that really caught my eye. Actually, there was that one assassin game where it was like the time loop. Was it Death Loop? Was that what it was called?
Yeah, something like that.
That one actually looked really cool too. I might grab that, but those are the only ones that really stood out. Oh, dude, we forgot about Grand Theft Auto 5 again coming to the PS5. Again,
Rockstar Games.
a 7 or 8 year old game. This will be the only game I can think of that's on 3 different.
No,
generations.
it is the only one ever. It's going to be the first game to ever be made playable on 3 separate generations of consoles.
Buy the same game 3 times because Rockstar.
Unreal, dude.
I'm surprised they aren't making a PS2 version. So
I think they all just kind of took the rest of the decade off after Red Dead 2. I think they're just like, "Yep, we're out."
By the way, that was a great game, but I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you can't
They're
make
like,
us buy the same
"We're
game.
done here, so bye."
You can't make us buy the same game 3 times, dude. And I think Skyrim is coming to the PS5 too. I haven't confirmed that, but I've had friends tell me that, and that game is older than GTA 5.
Yeah.
That one's been on 2 different systems already. I mean, what are you looking for? I'm sick of talking about GTA. What are you looking forward to on the PS5?
Some of the games I'm looking forward to. Well, we have that Avengers game that got announced a while back. It's been delayed, like a lot of other games, a few times already. I'm not sure what the plan is for that on the next-gen console, if there even is any, because it was originally supposed to come out last month, or 2 months ago, actually. I think it was originally scheduled for May.
Yeah.
And now it's all the way back to September, at least, and I'm not sure if there were plans to kind of take it over to the next gen, but that is a game I'm holding out some hope for.
Yeah, I feel like they'd have a next gen version of the Avengers game next year.
Yeah,
slated, and also Cyberpunk, which has been
that
delayed.
was the next game I was getting to. Cyberpunk is generating a lot of expectation and build up because of the insane amount of delays that have got. Like, they started to delay this game before the pandemic broke out.
Yeah.
So the pandemic only made it like 10 times worse. And now it's right now supposed to be November. I'm not holding my breath.
Oh,
like that's
hell no. There's
that's
no way.
the current like guess for when they're going to release it. And then they're also saying that multiplayer is not coming this year at all. Like, it's only story, and multiplayer is slated for next year.
Jesus Christ.
It's kind of a shit show. And at this point, I feel like they're just going to be a failure no matter what comes out, because everyone's just going to expect it to be a god tier game. And if it's anything less, it's going to get shit on.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Anything else you're excited for besides waiting for Cyberpunk?
I don't know. There's a couple of the Miles Morales Spider-Man thing is really cool. I haven't had a chance to play that Spider-Man game for the PS4 yet, but it looked great. I watched you play a little bit of it, and the Morales thing did look really cool. So I think I'm gonna maybe give that one a shot. We also have Ghost of Tsushima comes out in a couple weeks, actually, for PS4. That's an interesting looking one where you're kind of playing as like this like half dead, half alive samurai knight kind of guy.
Yeah.
That looks cool. Like, the graphics of it look really cool anyway. But some of these games I think are originally slated for PS4. There's a Crash 4 game coming out.
Oh shit, yeah, that's right.
And did we? I still don't know if we got confirmed for Skate 4 yet or not.
I think no. They had like replied to Tyler the Creator's tweet or something from like 5 years ago, and they just like put some eye emojis. So that could be them confirming it, but they haven't actually said anything. But hopes are up. Hopes are up. They've said something, at least, whether it's an emoji or whatever.
It's like the longest running joke in the gaming industry for a long time has been,
where is Skate 4?
Right. Tony Hawk Underground, Pro Skater, all those games.
Oh,
they're really
they're
great.
remaking the first 2 Tony Hawk Pro Skaters.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that actually looks pretty sweet. Is that next gen? I think that is just PS4.
No idea.
That looks fun though.
Skating games were always really fun when we were younger. So yeah, I think we didn't actually now talk about the price point for the games yet. So based on, I don't know if it's confirmed or not yet, from the NBA 2K21 game, I think is how we found out that I'm pretty sure the standard for next-gen games, we're going to see a jump of about $10.
Yeah.
Currently, the PS4 and Xbox One games have been sold at $60 regularly, and I'm pretty sure the PS3 was the same. Was it the same, or was it $50?
I think it was 60.
It was 50 or 60, one of those.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to see a jump in the next, if based on what we've seen from this release. Again, it's unconfirmed. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate, but it kind of seems like it. It feels like that's probably the next evolution in pricing. But $70, $69.99 for PS5 and Xbox Series X games. How do we feel about that?
I mean, I'm not shocked at all that they raised the prices, but I feel defeated. That's due for a video game. I mean, it always hurt spending $60 on a game, but it's just gonna hurt that much more spending 70.
I think the real issue behind this too, and I'm not sure what our solution to this is really. I mean, there are you have those services that they provide too, but it's all going to revolve around money. But we make these investments, and the more money that we have to invest in these games, like say The Last of Us 2, right? It's just the most recent example of a hot release, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking about, like, let's pretend that's $70, and that's for the next. We're fast forwarded to the next gen console. You're having to think about, well, what if I don't like the game? You can't just take it back to the store and say, hey, this sucked. Give me my $70 back. They're going to say, nah.
Well, no, GameStop would give you 10 cents back.
Well, GameStop's about to be GTFO. Like
Good riddance, GameStop. But yeah, you can't return a digital copy to the game. So yeah, you're kind of shit out of luck if you don't like whatever you buy.
Yeah, and so we're going to get to that point, though, like, because I remember back when I was little, and I'm going to kind of date myself a little bit here. So I'm walking down to Hollywood Video, like after school or something like that. Which
damn, you are old, man.
if any younger people are listening to this, are like, what the hell is Hollywood Video? But there was a Hollywood Video and a Blockbuster that we would, me and occasionally my friends would go into and rent a video game. And you actually just keep it for a week or two or something like that. You play it for a little bit, and that's your way of knowing if it's worth investing in to buy it. We don't have those kind of services now, though. Last I heard was like GameFly. I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't know if Blake Griffin stayed with GameFly.
I just don't know. I think the PS services offer.
I think it's that PS Now thing. Is but
it's a monthly subscription. Crap that you have to do.
Yeah, that's what sucks.
I just don't. I just want to be able to rent a game just one time, kind of like you rent a movie. Like the other day, we rented a movie for like $3 just to watch. Like I just want to do that. I don't want to have to also, on top of the renting, be paying this monthly fee or subscription to be able to rent. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, I feel like maybe people are hesitant to do the renting thing because, I mean, what was it, like a week from Hollywood Video? You could beat a game in a week. Like, are people just afraid of that? I mean, but then again, you just lower the time. You only get it for a day. You rent it for a day for a tiny price and then see if you like it, something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. And I think we used to have more demos.
Demos. Yeah,
and those are kind of gone by the wayside for the most part too. Every once in a while, you see some more demos released for some games, but in large part, we're not really seeing that anymore. It's just kind of like you're all in or you're all out for the purchase of the game. Really.
Yeah, there's been like the beta stuff too, like for COD that you can do every once in a while. They did they have a beta last year or no? That was remastered.
But the thing that we also have overlooked, though, that does help out with this is back to the beginning where we were talking about streamers and streaming. So that is also a way that we can tell if we want to buy a game or not. We can watch someone else play it on a platform that's most likely free. Like if you're free, you can tune into any kind of broadcast on Twitch and just watch some dude play The Last of Us or the new Crash game or whatever it is that you're looking to buy. And then you can make your opinion based off that. So that helps for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I forgot about that. That's a good way to figure out. Now if you want to spend $70, you can go watch someone else play the game they spent $70 on and see if you want to make that investment too.
Yeah. I think that's about it for our conversation on gaming as a whole. hope you enjoyed our blabbering about the current state of gaming, kind of debating about what's going to happen with the future of it. A lot of it's going to depend on how we emerge from the inevitable crisis that is ongoing. And we'll just have to see. We'll have to take from it. Maybe we'll do an update later on about once we get more pricing info and more game confirmations about these next-gen consoles. We can kind of revisit a lot of these talks.
Yeah, after the PS5 comes out, if we sound noticeably sad, you'll know that the price was a little higher than
right
I
around
predicted.
the November December mark. If we're just really in our feelings on here,
then the games are at least $70, and we spent over $500 on those consoles.
Right. But again, hey, a lot of people may be forced into that. If we're still kind of looking at lockdown life and being isolated, that could be, our hands could be forced in terms of entertainment value.
That's what I'm afraid of. But it is what it is, man.
On that note, till next week, I have been Dalton.
And I am possibly a citizen of the United States. My name is Spencer.
Enjoy the soothing sounds of Swix on your way out the door.
Peace out.